Hi, everybody, and welcome to Chattin Bees. In case you are excited as we are, the Bruins were able to pull off a thrilling 5-1 victory tonight in Game 1 on the revenge tour against the Florida Panthers. I am Nick. It's nice to have you all here. I want to welcome Brendan in as well. Exciting night because the Bruins get to the next round right after basically 48 hours from that heart attack night we had on Saturday and get the job done and get it done in Florida and Sunrise, Florida, and take a 1-0 lead in this series, Brendan. Exciting news for the Bruins and the fans.
Definitely, Nick. I think the big thing that you noticed tonight was the sense of urgency on offense. I mean, they really got their shots going, which was a big problem for them at the latter
Yep.
half of the Toronto series. Was you would get through two periods with two shots on net, which was really bad. But tonight they got the puck going. They got 5 goals at the end. That was crazy. Jeremy Swayman is on a heater. You cannot pull him out. He saved 38 shots on 39 attempts.
Yep.
Jeremy Swayman.
He's a brick wall right now. And
Incredible.
I do kind of feel bad for Ullmark. I'm going to say that right now because Ullmark had a great regular season, no question about it, against Florida in general. And there was some chatter before this game about what you're going to do. Were you going to play Ullmark or were you going to stay with the hot hand and stay with Swayman? Honestly, in my eyes, it would have been fine either way because you could definitely continue that goalie rotation that got you to this playoff experience and everything here. Jim Montgomery wanted to end up going with Swayman tonight. I have no regrets from the move. Stood on his head. He was outstanding. Even after that very quick lead that Florida had, 1-0, the Bruins were down, but that was only for about a minute or so until the Bruins were able to pop it in the net.
Morgan Geekie comes out feeling the urgency about a minute and a half after the goal. He gets another big hit. The young kids were going off today, Nick. Brandon Carlo, Morgan Geekie, Brazeau gets his first goal. Like these kids came out, they came out hot. The team they're not even playing to their peak, I'd say right now. I mean, I think their peak is Charlie McAvoy looks like locked in instead of freaking out the whole game. He's someone that you have to keep your eyes on for sure. But the young talents right now, they are just there. They are having fun and they are playing loose. And I think that's the big thing that the Bruins need is they just can't get tight at the end.
Brendan, I'm going to actually do a little Red Sox rewind here on this next take here. The Bruins actually had a Doug Mirabelli moment today. Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
So for those of you wondering what the heck I'm even talking about, way back in 2006, Doug Mirabelli from the Red Sox, he was a catcher of Tim Wakefield, the late Tim Wakefield, had to get traded in and rushed in to save the day at Fenway to go and catch Tim Wakefield. Well, little different story here. Brandon Carlo and his wife gave birth to their new son, Crew, who was born this morning here in Boston. And Brandon Carlo stayed back, took a flight out as quick as he could, got to Sunrise, Florida about 6-ish tonight, laced up the skates, popped in a goal right before the second period ended. There's just not a better story. That is just awesome.
It really
Congratulations to the Carlo family as well. Congratulations. That puck better be in a case, and it better be heading to the crib when the baby comes home from the hospital. How cool is that? What a gift.
Oh, I know. That's such a good story. There was a similar thing with Derek White last year, having his kid and then saving the Celtics against the Miami Heat. It's kind of wild how life works. But, Brandon Carlo, he gets down to Florida on time, gets down to the rink, and puts up a big contribution for their team. The Boston Bruins go up 1-0 in the series. It's going to be a long one, though. Florida is a gritty team, and
you think it's going to be a long one?
I knowing the Bruins, I want to see game 2 before I get any little bit of
Extra hype.
because
I want to say the same thing. You and I are on the same wavelength here. We saw this. The Bruins went up 1-0 in the Toronto Maple Leafs series that was just concluded. The Bruins putting together back-to-back here early here against Florida would set panic in for the Panthers, because the number one thing that the Bruins just did back at the Garden is they finally were able to win a game, a series clinching game on home ice. So we kind of got over the hump there on taking care of business at the Garden finally. It has not been a pleasant place to play since 2019. It has not been friendly in any sort of way for the Bruins. So seeing the Bruins get it done there, they're riding high right now. They are on this, I'm going to call it right now, it's a revenge tour. This is a business trip that they have going on here in Florida. It's a business trip. They know what they need to do. I want to also mention here, speaking of making sure they know what they're doing, I need to put major props out for head coach Jim Montgomery, because in this game, you saw something special. What you saw is a timeout in the third period where he was not happy with the way the Bruins came out in that last period of play 6 minutes into the game. Jim Montgomery called a timeout. He called that timeout to get the team back in rhythm and get them back into the motion that they were playing in that second period. He kept them in check. They called that timeout, and lo and behold, right after that timeout, Justin Brazeau puts it right in the net. Give him all the credit. He took a lot of hits in that last series. If they didn't win game 7, probably a goner.
Oh, yeah.
Probably. We never would know. If we're not going to replay that history, we're going with the what now effect. But that was a defining moment, I want to say, for Montgomery right here in this playoff route that we have right now. We hadn't seen that often, where coaches call that clutch timeout or do that stepping into the moment kind of play and getting your team back in rhythm. Applause all the way to Coach Montgomery on that. Very much liked it. Hope we see more of this as this series goes on.
Yeah, Nick, big point about Jim Montgomery. I feel like when it all started was when he called out David Pastrnak in Game 7.
I agree with that too. Absolutely.
Gives Pastrnak a little bit more of a chip because he hasn't been in the playoffs. And then he gets the game winner that saves oh my God, the fallout if that happened. But he saves it all and then comes in here, makes a line adjustment with moving Geekie up front, Zaka into the wing, and those two looked pretty good together. I like that move. Jim Montgomery, when he tinkers too much, you can tell, but he's doing just enough right now to help them. The big thing that he's done is he's riding the hot hand with the goalie, and I think that's huge. Like, I think this kid looks like he's unstoppable, and if you have one of those in the Stanley Cup playoffs, you can go as far as he takes you. So
ride him,
ride
it
all
the way. Do what you can. Keep going, Sway. Last thing I want to mention: Game 2 will be Wednesday night. Do you do any changes to the lineup? If you're the coach, if you're Jim, if you're Jimbo on the spot, what are you doing?
I think you keep it the same, but you find windows for Pat Maroon. This guy has been lethal for them. He's been that toughness that they need, and they need
that against this team for Florida.
They need that bad. He's a tone center. He's good. He's slow, but he's tough.
The only other thing I might want to tinker with at any point is Patrick Brown was put into the lineup as on the third wing. If you're able to get Heinen back, you can put him in. But he's not ready 100%. So we'll see what happens there. And Loquist was the other one, or Boquist was the other one that was also out of this lineup here too tonight. So we'll see what happens. Again, game 1, took it to the house, 5-1 victory. Nick and Brendan here breaking down this game. We'll be back with you again soon. Have a good night, everybody. Congrats to the Bruins.